Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 6th of March. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And we're coming live at you today from the studios at Triple M and FoxFM. And we thank our friends at Austereo for making this wonderful studio available.
And it's great to be here. I'm not quite sure exactly why we're here. I know you set it up, Philip. That's wonderful. But what the hell are we doing here?
Well, Gary, we're here for the very simple reason that we've had so much viewer feedback about our appearance on GPTV. Most people have been saying that we've got great faces for radio, so we thought we'd give the whole radio studio a workout this morning.
Yeah, and before we go, we'll have a little look around through the camera as what's around us, because it's very, very interesting. Also interesting that we're wearing these headphones, Philip, and we really don't need to be, and that's actually quite ridiculous.
Oh, well, I think we can probably take them off now that we've made some viewer impact.
Okay, well, we don't need those, but we are, in fact, at Fox Studios. That is true. The headphones aren't needed, nor the mics, but what an interesting place. Amazing to see what's going on here. And I guess you didn't really tune in for that, though. You tuned in for real estate. Let's talk about the weekend that was, the first weekend in March, the first autumn weekend, Phil.
Absolutely.
And it was all happening.
Well, it's great to see, Gary. This is the second big weekend in Melbourne real estate. So obviously last weekend was huge and the weekend before. But we've now really had two big weekends in Melbourne real estate. And I think Melbourne has come through with flying colours, Gary. We've just finished a weekend where the industry clearance rate was again above 60%, 62%. I'm very proud to say that Gary Peer and Associates led the industry again with a 79% clearance. We had 11 sales out of 14 auctions. One of the most positive aspects from the weekend, of course, is not just the high clearance rate, but was the depth in bidding across a lot of our auctions.
Yeah, we saw it again. We did say last week on GPTV that there was some intensity of bidding the last weekend of February, which we hadn't seen late last year. We saw that again out there on the weekend. Also, very compelling statistic this weekend was that there were buyers at absolutely every auction. So last week we made a song and dance that there was buyers, I think at 18 of our 22. This weekend we had buyers at every single auction. So the buyers are back. They're prepared to pay what they consider to be fair and reasonable. If the vendors are going to meet the market, Philip, the buyers are there to do business with them.
Do you know, one of the things I found across the weekend, Gary, and this is the thing that we're really looking for, is the depth of bidding. So not just one buyer, not two, but often three and four. And interesting, I started my day on Saturday with an auction in Gipp Street in Balaclava. Gorgeous little street, lovely little single-fronted house that we'd been marketing in the $700,000 range. We had a reserve there of $765,000. Now, the interesting thing, Gary, is that often we're starting auctions with a vendor bid. Right across the weekend, I found that I wasn't even putting in a vendor bid at a number of auctions. That's what happened in Gipp Street. First bid there was $725,000. And we put the property on the market at $765,000. Competitive bidding took it all the way to $810,000.
Yeah, that was a good little home, and we featured it a few weeks ago on GPTV, and certainly we thought it might go well, and it did go well, but it wasn't the only one that went well. There was a number of other properties that went right through the system very, very successfully on the weekend. So plenty of happy vendors and some competitive bidding, as mentioned earlier. One of the other interesting things that happened on the weekend were there were a lot of people attending open for inspections. We had two homes in particular that were significant in terms of numbers. One of those properties, Philip, in Villiers Street, Elstonwick. A lot of people through that beautiful home.
We had huge numbers there, Gary. 29 groups on Saturday, 29 groups on Sunday. I dropped into the open for inspection there on Saturday and was there for most of it. And there was just a real buzz. There were people coming and going, but 29 groups both days is just phenomenal numbers. Having said that, I'm not surprised we might just bring it up on screen now. Villiers Street, a double-fronted Victorian home, really with all the bells and whistles, north-facing back garden, a house that you'd expect to get good numbers, but those numbers are really through the roof.
Yeah, a very positive impression created by that home in the market, and I can personally verify the quality of position because I lived one street away for 12 years until very recently, so I can also first-hand say that is a ripper location. It doesn't get much better, right on the doorstep of Glen Huntly Road, and it's all happening. Everything you want is right around the corner from there. Some parks and beautiful amenities, great cafes. So what a fantastic address, and your impressions of the home are positive.
Yeah, no, terrific home. The
other home also that was big in terms of numbers was in Rose Street, McKinnon, a great position. And how about this house, Phil? What a beauty.
Oh, this is a sensational house, Gary, and one of the things that I'd point out is that the owner of this home has gone to an enormous level of trouble to present the home beautifully. This is a real showcase presentation, and I'd welcome viewers to actually click on the link and have a look at the virtual tour that we've done there, because presentation is critically important. And I think, Gary, going forward in a couple of weeks' time, I think we'll do something on how to present your home to the marketplace, because presentation is critical after choosing the right agents, and that of course would be Gary, Peer and Associates. The second most important thing to do, of course, is to present the home to the best of your ability, and we'll do something in the next couple of weeks on how to present your home and get the best result.
We've got that absolutely on the agenda, Philip, and that is going to be under a chapter of how to maximise the price of your home, and there's a few points to cover on that one, so that's something we're looking forward to presenting to you. Also, of course, and interestingly, we have got a special next week on GPTV for our investors. So next week we've got a little bit of an investor special. We did talk a few weeks ago about having a special guest. We had to delay it because we just talked too long.
Went over time, Gary.
No, but we are going to be talking next week with one of our important key people in our office about investment opportunities and about property management and what people look for in property management. So an investor special coming for you, a long weekend special, Philip, a Labor Day weekend special for next weekend.
I think it's appropriate also that we do something on investors, Gary, because we have a huge number of investors coming back into the market. I think that all indications are that when the investor money, the smart money, starts coming back into the market, you really do know that the market is poised for an upturn. Now, I'm not going to call that the market's about to start going up dramatically in price, but I think what we can see when the investors come back into the market, it's clear to me that we've probably found the bottom of the market, and from this point the only way is up, Gary.
No, it seems that way, and I think investors are going to get some good hints next week. St Kilda office up and rolling now, Philip. That's the last bit of news before we sign off.
Yep. No, we opened that on Tuesday. We're still really suffering under a sea of boxes and trying to find the right place for things, but we did open number 55 Inkerman Street, right in the heart of St Kilda on Tuesday of last week. We welcome everybody to drop in for a cup of coffee, but I'd ask you to wait a couple of weeks because we actually haven't installed the coffee machine yet. But we've gone to an enormous amount of trouble to fit this property out in a way that we think is really very much 21st, 22nd century. I think it's going to make a real impact, this office, on the local market, and certainly we're very excited about extending our reach right through that whole St Kilda Bayside area.
Well, we've always done a lot of business in St Kilda and Elwood and around that Bayside area, so it's certainly convenient to have an operation that services our clients there. Jeremy Rosen's running that office, and he's of course been around a long time.
He has.
Certainly a favourite amongst many people that do real estate business, so certainly he'll be looking forward to serving you, and his team's got a great team down there as well. And our property management also situated down there now in St Kilda, in Inkerman Street, St Kilda. So a action-packed week, plenty of buyers, plenty of sales, some rental stuff coming at you, looking good for real estate in autumn 2012.
It's going to be a bit of a quieter weekend though, just to close. It is a long weekend where traditionally Melbourne doesn't hold as many auctions. So next week we look forward to introducing our special guest. It's been a great week. I'd like to thank our friends at FoxFM and Triple N for allowing us to have the studio. What they don't realise is that we'll now be using it absolutely every second week or whenever we call upon it.
You did get a copy of the key, didn't you?
And we certainly hope that somebody will discover us for our own prime time, either radio show, Gary, or perhaps, you never know, given the fact that you are a bit of an Eddie Maguire lookalike, we might find ourselves on primetime television.
Drive time, Phil, in the morning. Yes, bright and early.
Thanks again for joining us on GPTV. Have a great week. I'm Philip Kingston.
I'm Gary Peer. Look forward to seeing you soon.
What we could do is if we press these buttons, Gary, we can probably send the whole radio station down into meltdown. So you choose a button, I'll choose a button, and we'll go 3 or 4. Which one do you want to press?